beauty of a solar facility, and particularly this technology, is that it is so environmentally benign.
I too had once thought deserts could be sacrifice zones. I was wrong. Deserts are not dead. They are in fact full of ancient life. In the desert, the Joshua tree stands, waiting for the giant ground sloths and the mammoths that shall never return. The Joshua tree depended on the giant mammals to reach up high and eat their seeds, and thus disperse the Joshua tree. But now, stranded in time and space, the Joshua tree awaits a new fate, to be sacrificed in the name of progress.
Joshua trees are torn down to make way for solar projects. 23ABC's Cassie Carlisle travels to the Mojave Desert to talk to neighbors.
They're not your usual tree, more like something from fiction, but these Joshuas are causing quite an uproar.
No, it makes me sick. They're clearing them off, killing them real quick, and now they're grinding them up, getting rid of all the evidence.
Not far from Ivanpah Solar, Daggett, California was home to several generations of solar arrays, including some of the first on the planet. Ozzy and I thought we would take a trip to see where it all began.
Sunniest places in the planet, really. The center of the solar industry. They've been building and dismantling and building arrays here for about 40 years.
Then we happened to run into the mayor of Daggett.
I know the solar plants out there. My husband, back in, I'd say 83, 84, they worked out there building that solar plant out there.
Yeah, the SEGs.
And everybody here worked.
How is that held up? Is it the job still here?
No. Jobs went bye-bye. They have their normal people that run the plant operators and stuff like that, the big wigs, they have that. Where that energy's going, I don't know.
Were you originally optimistic that solar would bring more jobs and the development with people?
We really did. A lot of things come into this town, they come and go. They go really fast.
Did you see this?
Then Ozzy and I discovered that the giant solar arrays had been razed to the ground.
Oh my God.
I mean, this was huge. It suddenly dawned on me what we were looking at. A solar dead zone. Look at the blowing sand.
Yeah, there's sand everywhere. There's sand dunes forming around this area.
Wow. So after all the mining, the fossil fuels, the toxins, the environmental destruction, here's what happens next. Only a few years after it was built, things at Ivanpah began to fall apart. Broken mirrors littered the desert. Yes, these giant solar and wind technology installations may last only a few decades, then tear it down and start all over again. If there's enough planet left. It was becoming clear that what we have been calling green, renewable energy and industrial civilization are one and the same. Desperate measures not to save the planet, but to save our way of life. Desperate measures, rather than face the reality, humans are experiencing the planet's limits all at once.
Every different perspective I look at and imagine, well, we could do more of this or go to a larger area or use more of that. Well, it turns out there isn't more. I looked at marine production and fish production and found that peaked 20 years ago. More and more of what we eat is from fish farming. The current acres of actively farmed land, that is peaked also. The rivers are already being irrigated to about the limits of what they can sustain. The Colorado River doesn't get to the ocean anymore. Well, then you start looking at groundwater, the southern Great Plains, and I think they can almost predict when they will run out of groundwater, and it's in a decade or two. A human vulnerability at the global scale, that any one of them we could maybe compartmentalize, but we're seeing them propagating across topic after topic of society and the Earth system. And I don't think the people in charge are near nervous enough.
Though each of them takes climate change seriously, every expert I talked to wanted to bring my attention to the same underlying problem.
There are too many human beings using too much too fast.
As a global community, we really have got to start dealing with the issue of population.
Population growth continues to be not the elephant, the herd of elephants in the room.
Can a single species that's come to dominate an entire planet
Be smart enough to voluntarily limit its own presence.
Is there any precedence for that in nature?
Wow.
We have to have our abilities to consume reined in, because we're not good at reining them in if there are seemingly unrestrained resources.
Species hit the population wall a lot, and then they crash. I mean, that's a common story in biology. If that happens to us, in a way, it's the natural order of things. And I don't think we're going to find a way out of this one. I don't.
As a scientist, what leads you to that conclusion?
Well, because right now, a large percentage of that number is supported by industrial agriculture, which is heavily subsidized by oil, and it's not sustainable. And, and there's no going back. Without seeing some sort of major die-off in population, there's no turning back.
What's the thing that nobody ever asked you that you want?
Nobody's ever asked me if I'm scared.
Yeah.
And I am. I actually am scared. I lose sleep over all of this.
It took modern humans tens of thousands of years to reach a population of 700 million. And then we tapped into millions of years of stored energy known as fossil fuels. Our human population exploded. It increased by 10 times in a mere 200 years. Our consumption has also exploded, on average 10 times per person, and many times more in the Western world. You put the two together, the result is a total human impact 100 times greater than only 200 years ago. And that is the most terrifying realization I have ever had.